what to say. I'll think about it. Why would you be doubting? Sitting out in my head, just say what should be said. We can sit and talk about something happening now, not just hollow vowels. But I just worry about it, about giving up. How can I go without it? The doubt will push you through. Get caught up, too attend to all the frustration I have inside my head. Tell me to go away again, I guess. We can all be warriors, assassinate the foe inside your mind. And over time, raise your page, watch it cut through the end. Sometimes out of my head, just say what should be said. How can I go without it?
Searching for with a break of a day to follow away to you. Cause at the end of the day, I ain't looking for no reason to change. Cause everything is good for you. Baby, I can see we're gonna shout it out to the sky. Tell our secrets to the night, so we can see the end inside. We're gonna shout it out to the sky. When I look into your eyes, I can see no better life, better life than love. We're gonna to the sky. Tell our secrets to the night, so we can see the end in sight. We're gonna shout it out to the sky. When I look into your eyes, I can see no better light, better light than love. We're gonna shout it out to the falling away as I'm searching for with a break of a day to follow away to you. 'Cause at the end of the day, I ain't looking for no reason to change. 'Cause everything is good for you. Baby, I can see we're gonna shout it out to the sky. Tell our secrets to the night, so we can see the end in sight. We're gonna shout it out to the sky. When I look into your eyes, I can see no better light than love. We're gonna shout it out to the sky. We're gonna shout it out to the
Hello and welcome to the grand finals of the Hearthstone 2023 Collegiate Challenge, brought to you by Nace Starleague. We have had players competing all spring in multiple qualifiers and the group stages yesterday to make it to the Final Four. We have 4 players from Northeastern, Oregon, and Tufts Gray, all looking to be crowned Hearthstone champion for spring 2023. Who will make it? We are going to find out soon enough. I'm your host, Jacob Palmer, joined by Audrey Norris, calling all of the action. So we saw a lot of great plays yesterday, but I am most excited to see who overall wins, because the major storyline that we've had is Northeastern bringing so many players to the field. 2 of them got through to the grand finals, and now we've got the 2 spoilers as well. So tell us a little bit about the bracket.
Yeah, so we've got an interesting bracket for us today, like Jem was talking, or I guess Jacob was talking about. We've got 2 Northeastern players coming out. In addition to that, we also have a player coming from Oregon and from Tufts Gray. As you can see, looking at the bracket from yesterday, we had 3 Northeastern players all competing for it. So overall, 2 out of the 3 made it to the final bracket today, which is pretty impressive overall, with the rest of the teams just battling it out to get their best. So luckily, we do have a variety of schools to see today, but we do have to see who's going to be able to defeat Northeastern, or if it'll end up being a Northeastern versus Northeastern finale tonight.
The Huskies would like nothing more than for that to happen. We're going to get into our first semifinal match. We're also going to take a look at a few replays to see how these players got here. We have Auto Button versus Wild Rose, and Auto Button from Northeastern was the first to secure his spot in the grand finals. And this also gives us a chance to kind of see his lineup and what he's bringing to the table, because all of these players have to pre-submit their deck lists beforehand. And it was a lot of plays that basically took place on the Frost Aggro Death Knight that really proved dividends for a lot of these players. That was one of the most popular decks that was brought.
Yeah, we saw a lot of aggro Death Knight, which ended up being really good for people going up against some of those mage decks, because then they were able to counter a lot of the freezing from mage decks with their own freezing.
And here is another look at how Sevenfold got to the finals. Had a lot of decks that really take advantage of low-cost cards. Brought the Aggro Mage and also the Miracle Rogue, which works out very well. He played that he played that extraordinarily. And I also got to say, it wasn't just any win in which Sevenfold got to the grand finals. It was a reverse sweep, no less.
Yeah, you're going to want to watch out for Sevenfold today. He managed to climb back from the depths of what seemed like defeat at the very end there, and that was like such a hard deck to go against too, with that Demon Hunter deck being really dangerous in previous matches with Rock U.
Now, I do also just want to give a slight disclaimer out of the way, since we did get a chance to see a rogue there. There was another player, Epic Mingo, who brought Death Rattle Rogue, who would like to send a formal apology for. We were razzing him pretty bad, thinking that he wasn't playing the Sketchy Information when the Death Rattles were double, but Sketchy Information only summons pulls minions that are 4 or less.
Which he already had.
Which he already had, so he was essentially bricked. So
yeah.
Apologies from us, You can't count on people talking about Hearthstone to actually read the cards. That's actually a rule of thumb. If you're talking about Hearthstone online, you're going to miss a line in a card. So sorry we didn't catch that, but we will do our due diligence, and hopefully we can actually read today. I don't know. That might be asking too much, but let's get to the actual match. Northeastern versus Oregon, Automated Button versus Sevenfold. 2 rogues brought to the table. We have a Priest and Mage. We've been seeing Shadow Priest brought a whole lot, because Priest has actually been sitting as second in terms of the class win rates. And I gotta say, quite a turnaround for Priest. It used to be pretty bad for most of the past year, but then it's really kind of shot up to second place. Something that Warrior can't say for itself, but congrats to Priest for turning it around.
You know, Warrior at least isn't last place anymore. It doesn't have to sit. It gets a little bit of a chance. Hopefully when the new expansion comes out, we'll see some more of a shake-up in this lineup. But yeah, Priest going all the way up is really insane. And as we've been talking about, I think it's really cool just seeing how close the win rates are overall. It means that we get to see so many different decks. I mean, there have been some staples. Priest, Paladin, Mage have been pretty common, same with Death Knight, but getting a mixture of Warlock and Demon Hunter and Rogue has been really nice. Even a Druid at one point too. So we've seen almost every single class during these last semifinal matches.
In fact, I think if I remember correctly, there were only 3 classes that we didn't see, Warrior and Shaman, obviously, but then we also didn't see Hunter. But in terms of the 11 classes available, seeing all but 3 of them is a pretty good showing. We can also see the bands that came through for this match. It was the Paladin band for Automated Button, as well as the Mage band for Sevenfold. And we know that that's an aggro mage, but still plenty of options. I also got to say, Sevenfold, the only one who brought an Imp Warlock to the fray today, but it is still a very good deck. It has been since it was introduced in Nathria.
Yeah, no, it's a solid deck, and it served him really well yesterday once he was able to get his setup going. He definitely had to contend a lot with the biggest problem of Imp Warlock being if you don't get your imps your first couple turns, you start to struggle. But he was able to come back from that, and so it is nice to see some of the variety that he's bringing, especially like looking over at Automated Buttons list. He has a little bit more of the standard plays that we saw yesterday with Paladin, Mage, and Priest. So it'll be a good matchup for these two, and their only mirror matchup being Rogue is going to be pretty interesting, I think.
Yeah, both of them just trying to outdo each other on the Miracle Rogue, of course. That can always be a little bit of a puzzle that each player is trying to work out on how that they can play the most cards efficiently, summon the biggest the minion they can off the Sinstone Graveyard. And unfortunately, we just get to remind ourselves that we didn't see the new card today that's over my shoulder. We were teasing it all yesterday, hoping for sure that it would come. But, you know, there's always next rotation. Alrighty, here we go. Automated Button versus a Sevenfold. We're going to be starting with the Shadow Priest versus the Fell Demon Hunter. And I gotta say, the Fell Demon Hunter, probably one of my favorites to watch. There are so many situations in which the player can get themselves out of if they play it right.
Yeah, we saw a lot of really close saves with the Demon Hunter yesterday too, so I'm excited to see more of that. I'd also like to call out the fact that Northeastern Automated Button decided to put on his camera. We always love to see that, get the good player reactions going for that. But and with the Priest, we've already got the Void Touched Attendant coming out. Oh man.
Yeah, that's going to be a soft taunt that needs to be dealt with. Good news for Sevenfold, however, is that he has found his Relic Vault, and that can be one of kind of the main mulligan goals. Always nice to get that out of the way. There is no minion to use the Mind Seer on, so the damage this turn isn't going to be too severe. I think Sevenfold is probably going to be forced to use that Predation next turn just to take out the Attendant. So you don't want the damage to get too far away. You want to be able to survive at least until turn 6 as the Demon Hunter. So you can either use your hero power or get the Reno type heal off of Fell. Coin is going to be brought out. Haunted Nightmare. Remember, we do see kind of two main flavors of the Shadow Priest. You kind of got the OTK version where you use the Priest hero card to just deal 3 damage to face constantly. Or you've got kind of the more board-based version, which relies on all these cards getting marked in hand and the Shadow being summoned off of it. Now we did use the Predation, but it was in face, not to the minion. Soul Teacher's going to be used by Sevenfold. Unfortunately for him, he can't use the double activation on that Relic of Extinction.
I've got plenty of mojo.
They use a Hexen, take the 4/4 away, and this is an insane board that's been built up.
Yeah, geez, for turn 4, this is a really nasty board, especially with the Void Touch Attendant still hanging on there. That is a lot more damage than you want to be taking in any circumstance.
One turn away from either his hero card or draw 4 should he use that relic with the Relic Vault. Now all of these minions are more than 2 health, so it's a bit of a problem that only one of them is going to be cleared out. He can't get one of his minions back by taking out the 1/4. That's what he's going to use the Chaos Leap for. Lucky for him, that does also have a bit of lifesteal attached to it, so that is going to help him stabilize a little bit, but there's still so much damage on the Priest side. 13. We also have this Mind Seer that could also be used for the Priest as well. So technically, if everything were to go face and the Mind Seer were to be activated, you're getting, you know, across the 15 mark in terms of damage going north of it. You could also, he's got his other Void Touched Attendant, so technically that's 4 more on top of that. I mean, he's extremely close to lethal right now.
Yeah, just...
Oh, with the other one, I think that is lethal.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Does he see it? Because the Mind Seer will deal 5. Yeah, he's got it.
Wow. That was an incredible start for... Man, for Northeastern.
We'll have the Concede brought out. That just shows how nasty that attendant has been throughout this whole tournament. We even saw, a combo be brought out with it and and Astalor on the final to make it so like every missile did 2 damage instead of 1. So ultimately, that's 28 damage. That if they all hit face, of course, that was 28 damage, and it was Cariel that bailed out the player in that circumstance just barely. But
Cariel
this time, the Demon Hunter was left just a little bit wanting.
Yeah, Cariel was able to soak up a lot of damage, but I will say I think this is one of the fastest rounds we've seen that priest deck ramp up. Like normally it took them a little bit longer to actually get their deck set up, but turn 4 having that full deck ready to go, that board was so nasty so quick, and that's luckily for Sevenfold something he won't have to deal with again, at least with the priest deck.
He's going to run it back with the Demon Hunter. Automated button is going to bring out the Aggro Mage. Or rather, excuse me, instead of Aggro Mage, the big Spell Mage. Which should be a little bit of an more interesting matchup, I would think. It's going to be a question of how much tempo can the Demon Hunter get going for everything.
For the Mage.
Before Mage and Rune and all of that great randomness. Oh, Belinda.
Oh, wow, already there.
Yeah, I hate to be a cynic, but the match just might be decided off of that, pure and simple. Belinda, one of the most polarizing cards I've ever seen. If you get it and you play it on curve, it's extremely hard for the other player to win.
We'll have to see here. Demon Hunter does have a good mana cost lineup here, though, so he has some potential stuff to work with right now. Ooh, the school teacher discounted. It's not a bad thing either.
I can smell Zinjari. Anybody?
I would say either the Vile Call or the I-Beam is going to be the play. Predation is the first card used. He gets it for 0 because he played the school teacher, but at this point, I mean, he is not threatening much against this mage, who's just been able to draw one of their big cards. He's going to get 10 whole armor off of that.
Yeah. Has both of their locations available to them, too. I mean, they've got one on the board and another in their hand. This is a nasty control that the mage has already.
Anybody?
Now, Sinful Brand might kind of be the counterplay to a Belinda. If this Demon Hunter can find a good source of tokens or rush minions, and Sinful Brand can deal a whole lot of damage to just one minion, and he's going to do that, start building to that effect.
Oh, and their mage was just giving Master O'Connor her favorite from yesterday. He's played at the right time. He's definitely not a bad card, but very situational.
Skeleton damage is going to hit face. And he's going to play his other location, and they're staggered, so that basically means he gets a freeze every single turn. What else is new for Mage? Freeze in every single turn.
Oh, yeah, and he has another amplified. Yep.
And his hero power is going to freeze next turn as well.
Yeah, ooh, new Ruby and Vizier is not a bad card to pull right now.
He needs an undead if he wants to get the mana sheet off of it. He didn't pick Sinful Brand, he casted Fell Barrage, and he's going to use it right now. But perhaps he wishes he would have picked it now that we're going to see Belinda drop down.
Yeah.
At the very worst, it's going to be a 9/9.
Take me for an ordinary mage.
An insane mana discount on those spells,
Yeah.
draws a rune, and yep, a 9/10. And even if he did have the Simple Brand, he wouldn't necessarily have the rush minions to use with it. The best that he could have hoped for was maybe trying to clear it out with the hero power and the rushes those give you, but ever since Sinful got nerfed to 2, it really hasn't been a huge popular card for Demon Hunter. Gonna give himself 5 extra health off of that, summon some 2/4s. Can't clear the 9/10, but at least maybe you can spread out some of the damage that's going to be brought out from the rune. Also, the Barbaric Sorceress is pretty good against Demon Hunter. You've got so many cheap spells that he could get a sick mana discount.
Yeah, that would be nasty, and I wouldn't be surprised if that happens. Oh.
He gets 1. And he could get 2.
Oh,
Every spell he would cast, he would do 8 damage, but he's going to go for death range to get the 12/12. Just go for pure stats, and I do not blame him. Split out between all of the minions. Let's see, that's 11, 15, 27 attack on the mage's side.
Wow, that board was completely like taken out besides Belinda, and then as soon as Drakefire Amulet came out, man, just goes to show how nasty that can be once you get the discount on it.
Might try to get the spell damage. He's only really going to be able to claim 1 minion, however.
Getting rid of the 12/12 isn't a bad thing, though. Unfortunately, he is getting close. It's not quite within the range for the mage yet, but he doesn't want to get any closer right now with 13 damage on the board.
Now Rune seems to be the play. He's going to attack first, just to make sure that he gets the damage to face he's looking for, because Rune is most likely going to clear out the board. Sometimes you can get that mass polymorph if everyone turns into sheep, and you're wishing you got the 9 damage to face in that scenario. All right, here we go. Do see some secrets being brought out. 3 damage to everybody, more spells generated, and some wild spells as well. That's what I like to see. Wildfire as well, and 4 damage to face.
And
he can just end it.
Almost? Wait, yeah, no, he's close. No, he's got it.
Yep,
oh, wow. That dragon.
Automated Button is not wasting any time whatsoever in picking up these wins.
No, that was another really fast win, though the Belinda being pulled so early was very helpful for that. That's just such a good card for, one, putting a terrifying character on the board, and then just making other spells like appear, and man, it's not good for that type of stuff. The Drakefire Amulet being discounted by half of its normal cost was so huge there.
It's kind of hard to believe that she's made it through the fast few balance changes without Blizzard ever, adjusting her power, because Mage, it's never been the most popular deck, but Big Spell Mage has still been a tier 1 deck, and when you play her on turn 6, a lot of classes just can't answer back a sudden 10 or 9-10 on the field, 10-10 or 9-10 on the field, and so it is really kind of one of those cards where if you draw it and play it sooner, you do most likely win the game. But we're going to have a Rogue Showdown. Miracle Rogue versus Miracle Rogue.
I already see some of the concoctions being prepared on both sides here. Potion Master Putricide in his starting hand, oh boy. That is probably one of my favorite parts about Miracle Rogue, is I just love the concoction mechanic. It's very fun.
And the concoction mechanic really kind of is one of the counters to the Sinstone Graveyard, because if you line it up right, you've got the concoctions that just destroys an enemy minion, period. So they do all the work, they put out a big 12/12, you just play your concoction. Discount on Serrated Bone Spike is always nice. That basically makes it a plus mana card. Costs 1 mana, but you get a 2 mana discount off of it.
That's really nice.
Also draws Edwin. And there it is, the Dreadful Concoction. It's going to take one of those just in case the Sinstone is brought out. start his combo with the Door of Shadows. And just weapon up for this turn.
Both of them have the Scribbling Stenographer.
He's going to use that mana cheat that he got to play Edwin, 2 mana. Say it's a go, but drawing the Stenographer, he doesn't get the combo off of it.
That's
So
unfortunate, yeah. The only way he could do that is if he coined with it, but he's not going to want to do that because he's not going to have enough mana. And Edward is just going to be taken out of
now Automated Button is going to say, this is how you combo. He's going to get tradable. Go for the Dredge.
Oh, I see a Sinstone Graveyard.
He's going to go for the other Gone Fishing. Always be a nice combo enabler. More Potion Belts. Picks another Dreadful. A double Dreadful. I mean, he just... Sevenfold is gearing up.
Yeah, he does not want to deal with anything. He's like, Sinstone Graveyard? No. We're not playing this game today.
And it's just kind of a lot of setup between these two. You know, no one really wants to make the first move. They're both being a bit reactive and trying to find a way that once the other player does their combo, they can answer it. Passes up on the Dreadful, instead goes for the draw and the add class from another card. Add a card from another class, excuse me.
Okay. I wouldn't be surprised right now if Sevenfold is preparing right now and he's just trying to find the location. So he's waiting to see if Automated Button decides to use his location on the board, but if he gets his own right now, he's just trying to prepare for the eventuality.
I wonder.
He's also tied one of his Dreadful Concoctions to his main card draw. So the chance for him to draw into anything else is a bit shaky right now, because he would be wasting that minion destruction. Overall, he doesn't really have the best hand either. None of his cards are really, except for the Concoction, are going to draw more.
No, and he's starting to get close to the maximum hand, which is kind of dangerous right now for him.
Normally, I would say, you know, going for the Dancer would probably be the play to get something on field, but the problem is that that's going to be so easy to pick off for Automated Button, and you're giving the other rogue a coin. The last class you want to give a coin to. Oh, Immolate!
Ooh.
Discounted to everything. The other player's hand would be marked. He'd have to get it out. He's going for his play. He's going to draw a card. Serrated Bone Spike so that he can get that Dancer. But even more mana cheat out.
gosh.
Everything is being discounted.
Wow, and there's Ascalor too.
Discover more concoctions. A draw. And a Dreadful. Oh no, and a summon too. Next spell you cast this turn costs 2 less, so he's gonna get the Bone Spike for free. That's gonna discount another card by 2. Timer's ticking out on him to do his combo, but I think he's got it. Summon the Stenographer. Ascalor. Now go for Graveyard. 11-11. So now everything that Sevenfold has been saving up for, he can finally play. I think he's probably going to open this with the Serrated Bone Spike because it can take care of one of the lesser minions. Make sure that 11-11 is taken out with the concoctions. also prep it, because he's got a lot in his hand that he needs to cycle. He's still waiting to see how exactly he's going to go about it. Going to bring himself back up to his full 6 health, play 2 coins. Well, just the coins are going to bring the stenographers down to 2.
Hurry up. He's starting to run out of time.
He's going to use the shadow to play another coin. One of the stenographers heads out. Serrated Bone Spike as well. And there goes the mixed concoction.
Well done.
And he'll just be able to get his mana spent. The real scary thing is had he had even more time, that combo could have just kept on going.
Oh, yeah, no. The Gone Fishing and the Future Side there, too. Oh. Wow, that is a lot of coins spent, but he did manage to clear that field, which is really good for him right now.
Now, here goes Automated playing his
no.
Edwin combo.
I mean...
And he's going to Shadow Step the Edwin. Either that, or he wants to save the Shadow Step for an Astalor. But no, he's going to Shadow Step the Edwin. That'll buff the Edwin. He's got ways to discount that Stenographer as well. Sunstone Graveyard brought out.
Wow.
Oh, that's a bit rough. He's not going to have the
Wow.
mana to keep the Edwin combo going. He can try to Shadow Step it again. There he goes with the Immolate. That's going to change the Shadow spell over. So he can either spend the other Shadow Step that he has, or just leave it be. He's going to leave it for now. The Immolate really isn't going to affect Sevenfold that much. Rogue can very quickly play all their cards. Future Side is going to help him reload with even more resources.
Which is always nice.
Oh, but it's a double. It's a double Dreadful.
Wow.
Which, you know, he was probably really hoping that, you know, he either got a blue or yellow off of that one. Either draw cards or give himself more random cards. Another
Oh my gosh.
There's so much removal.
The game really was just like, you sure that you,
You know, are you really prepared enough?
are you sure you're ready for his graveyard? Take some more Dreadfuls. I think you might need them. Which, I mean, depending on how Automated Button decides to play this, he does have another graveyard ready to go, so those Dreadfuls probably will pay off later.
If there's going to be an end of the world, he has the bunker with rows and rows of purple
Dreadful.
concoctions just lining the walls.
He's like, I'm ready. Professor, or the Potion
So
Master Future
many
Side served him
options.
well. And now he's a 0-cost card, too.
Astalor will be a good play just for the tempo and getting the final form of Astalor in his hand. With this Shadow Step that can possibly be 2 triggers of the 14 damage.
Catch you soon.
Not going to use the other use of his Sin Stone. Still waiting. There's Future Side again. Now I'm going to play one of his purples.
Wow.
Oh my goodness.
I'm so sorry, Sevenfold. I know that's not what you
He
want.
can discount one of those purples too. To 0, I suppose. And now he's just going to go for his graveyard play. That's all he can do. Man, that's really rough in terms of just the RNG of it. Absolutely nothing he can do to build a board for himself or really draw
He's
into
created
more
6/6,
cards.
yeah. Yikes. future side. I don't think he needs more dreadful concoctions right now.
Now Automated Button has the green light to discount this Stenographer and take out Future Side. He also has his other Synthstone Graveyard, so counting the one charge he has on the field, he can summon 3 more bodies. He's going to bounce back the Dancer, use that for another free card, and another coin. Another Concoctor, and the Hasty Concoction, so Automated Button certainly having no problem getting anything but.
Too soon.
Oh, pulling back the Dancer one more time.
He's going to bring out the other Graveyard. And now the moment finally comes where, I mean, yeah, you have what you need to be able to deal with those ghost summons. Oh my goodness, what is even happening? Okay, he gets some card draw finally. He gets a yellow.
Oh my gosh, wow. That took a while though, at least he got it. But he has to deal with the 12-3 dagger now from the Necrolord Jaka and a 13-13. Yep.
And just with this weapon alone, I mean, you can clear out the board with those mix, but now that you've got Draka and her weapon, that's such consistent damage that, coupled with the Astalor, I think this is probably over. But we'll see what Sevenfold can do. It is called Miracle Rogue for a reason. Future Side's going to be giving him some other colors finally. But he's also got to keep the overall mana cost in mind, because if he wants to survive that weapon hit, he's going to need the armor from the Astalor, but that takes near all of his mana. He can discount it, however.
Too soon.
That's what he's going to do, use one of his ghosts to get a favorable trade. With Astalor. Oh, but it's not gonna hit. My goodness.
Wow.
Man,
yeah.
I gotta hand it to Sevenfold. That's rough. I feel really sorry for you, bud. I mean, we've all been there sometimes with the RNG. He got nothing but purple concoctions, dreadful concoctions, and at the very end, they didn't even hit the one minion that they were supposed to hit.
Yeah, and it didn't help that Automated Button spent so much time prepping for his big turns that just over time Sevenfold's hand was just filled with things that he couldn't use to actually start any combos. So he basically was stuck at like the will of Automated Button and when he decided to first put down a ghost.
And it also is the difference between a proactive strategy and a reactive strategy. Sevenfold's hand, no, I would have chosen the dreadful concoctions at the beginning too. Don't get me wrong. And unfortunately, it was just the unfortunate picks off of Future Side. It made his whole hand reactive. It was all just designed to wipe out the other board. But then that still gives your other opponent board initiative. So that's going to be Automated Button moving on to the Grand Finals. There's only one more chance for a non-Northeastern team to make it. That's going to be Tufts Gray versus Northeastern. Or will we have an all-Northeastern finals and make all those Husky fans out there very proud of their university? We're just going to have to take a short break and find out after this commercial break.
I'll take the blame. I've seen the world go down in flames. I've felt the strain of every loss I can't reclaim. Our steps retraced from when we went our separate ways. me stay. It's not too late for us to slip away. I know the feelings always fade. It's not too late for us to slip away. I've walked this road, the one foretold would lead us home. Our fate's unknown, but time will mend our broken bones. I've held the weight of all these years spent in decay. These times are strange. I never thought I'd see your face again. I know the feelings always fade, but nothing else can make me stay. It's not too late for us to slip away.
I want to get down to the simplest possible nitty-gritty.
Welcome back to the Nace Hearthstone Collegiate Challenge. We are currently in the finals for this tournament. Players have been playing all across the spring semester, across multiple qualifiers to make it to this point. 4 enter today, and only 1 will leave the champion. We already got one of our grand final slots picked up by automated button from Northeastern. Now we're going to see who gets the other grand final slot. Will it be Critical or will it be Table Cow? Tufts Gray, the only non-Northeastern school left to represent. So is Northeastern going to get an all in-house final?
I don't know. It'd be really interesting to see if that happens. But I think that we should definitely not underestimate Table Cow because he has made some very interesting plays in the past. Like throughout all of the different tournaments that we've held leading up to this point, he's had some really interesting picks. However, Critical was one of the ones who actually brought the Druid last time. And that Quest Druid ended up being pretty nasty against the last person that he faced with it. So it'll be kind of
I gotta say, we were giving him a lot of credit because until then, until Table Cow, or Critical, excuse me, entered the picture, we were just seeing a lot of the standard, you know, Priest, Paladin, which Paladin's my favorite class, so I always don't mind seeing Paladin, but Priest, Paladin, and Mage were kind of the main, along with Death Knight, were sort of the
Death
main
sprinkled around.
MOs for these players. We can see also, speaking of priests, we're not going to see any for this round because both of them have been banned, so no Shadow Priest for either players.
The mutual agreement of, I'll ban your priest, you ban my priest, let's not do priests right now.
And once again, the world was at peace for just a shining moment when Priest was not in Hearthstone. And you can see how we got here, Northeastern and Tufts Gray. Both these players also knocked out 2 other colleges. RIT was kind of the also kind of powerhouse entering into the group stages yesterday. But Northeastern and Tufts Gray knocked both of their players out. And now it is just 1 Husky, 1 Pachyderm left to see who wins. Normally, if we're going off mascots, I would say, you know, the elephant has the size advantage, but I mean, you can't count out any of Northeastern's players. They have been on point. We'll see if Table Cow can make it happen. And we'll also see what the first picks are. What would you first pick? If you're looking at, let's just take a look at, we've got Critical's lineup. You got the Quest Hunter, you got the Fell Demon Hunter, or you've got the Death Knight, the Aggro Death Knight. What are you feeling?
I feel like if I had to pick for that, I would probably go with the Fell Demon Hunter first, although it's really strong. I think it would probably be good to get out of the way first.
All right, we'll see. If you want just kind of a spring, you just kind of end this, then, hey, look, we got the camera for Table Cow. Not only that, he's got the jersey as well. Respect for that. Always nice to see a university represented with the full jersey. And as we're starting out, the match has already started, and a big board has been brought up for the Demon Hunter, but probably one of the most annoying cards in terms of Death Knight is available. But he didn't pick that. He chose Sunwell instead because he didn't have the mana to clear this board.
Ooh, yeah, this is a very interesting point to jump into, but it does look like the Death Knight does not really have anything to be able to take out the Demon Hunter.
So you made the call that Demon Hunter would be the play for Critical, and you called it. That was the most perfect prediction. Critical won that one as fast as we could possibly think.
Yeah, no, so Demon Hunter is now out of the way, like I was talking about. Like, mostly I said that because all of that we've seen of the Fell Demon Hunter, although it's very powerful, it also has its struggles if you don't get the right card lineup, so I felt as though you'd kind of want to get that out of the way like as fast as possible, because better to get it out of the way and get it over with than have to struggle using it multiple times in a row, because we did see one player trying to get it through, and it just did not work out for them.
If you usually have, you know, in Conquest format, a deck that really doesn't have good win rates against the others, then a common strategy is to save that deck for last. You know, if your other twos are most likely wins, then, you know, if you're going to have a deck that most likely is going to have a hard time getting through, you might as well give it as many chances as it possibly can to win. But the first game is all about that pick and counter pick. You're trying to play those mind games, you know,
See who
thinking,
gets
what do
yeah.
I pick, and then what would they pick based on what I pick, and so should I change that pick off of their pick? It's you're always just trying to predict your opponent's next move. And it was a good choice for Critical. He's already won with the Demon Hunter. Now he just has to look to the Druid and Death Knight.
Which are both good options, honestly. I think both of them have some pretty good strengths. I wouldn't be surprised if, considering the lineup he has to go up against, I could see either of them working really well, though Frost Death Knight would be probably better against that mage he's going to be dealing with, so I wouldn't be surprised if that was a pick. Depending, I guess it really just depends on what Table Cow chooses to come out with next, but I wouldn't be surprised if we saw Death Knight next. Or we'll see the Druid next. Never mind. You know, I get one right, I get one wrong. 50-50, that's a good start for me. Quest Druid versus
Aggro Mage.
Aggro Mage, yep.
This is a pretty fair matchup, I would say. If the Quest Druid isn't able to gain all of its armor, the Aggro Mage can form a board that's pretty threatening to it. Already, mana discount's going to be going on to the Death Lord. He's going to coin down an Iron Deep, which is a really good play on turn 1 for this Druid. It's going to force him to play the Astalor on curve. He's not going to get the damage that goes along with it.
Oh. We get 2 warrior cards out of that.
If I were to think here, I mean, battle cries are usually so powerful that having the Shadow Step is what you would mostly want to do. Now, I think he's got a trade here. You want to protect that Iron Deep. Especially looking at Critical's hand, I mean, it's a very awkward play for him if that Iron Deep is left up. So Shadow Step the Elemental back, play it again. Gets the lineup and the training. It's going to help him discover a lot of taunt minions, which also kind of throws a wrench in the Druid's plan. Because Druid, when you're in the Quest variant, you're getting a lot of attack for yourself, and you're getting in, you know, damage, 5 damage in here, 4 damage in there when you're attacking with your hero to face. And a taunt minion will just pretty much shut that down.
Yeah, no, any taunt minion in front of the Quest Druid makes it infinitely harder for them to deal with that. Let's see.
Mass Polymorph is expensive. Oasis Ally is good for getting a board presence. From the Depths at 4 is not going to be the choice, however. It used to be extremely good at 3. You get so much mana cheat out for a relatively cheap card. Now this Druid can finally do what he wants to. He'll get the attack, complete the first part of his quest line. That's 5 armor gained. The Iron Deep was ultimately able to hold him for a few turns, and that's a huge draw for Table Cow. Getting that spell damage online, especially when there's going to be so much armor gained by the Druid.
I wonder.
Table Cow does have a lot of nice options lined up though for later on, so that'll be very helpful.
He'll sever a taunt minion. If he plays it, he'll get to discover another. I never thought I would see the day when Taz Dingo would be played in 2023.
I was thinking about that. I was like, oh,
I
look
never
who it
thought I'd
is.
see him again.
Our good
But
old
the card
friend.
draw is ultimately going to be drawn. That's not too bad. Ordering is a good tutor. He'll keep that in his pocket. Pick another spell. Oh. Decided to pick
All right.
Explosive Runes.
Let's see if Critical can guess which one he picked.
No, he goes for the other. He went for the other rune, which wasn't the one this time.
Oh, Bran has been pulled out for critical. That's actually not bad.
That's insane actually,
That's
because
really
he's
good.
there are 3 cards you want, 4 cards actually you want for your combo to win as this druid. You want the Guff or Innervate so you can get to 11 because that 11 mana enables the combo. Then you want Gran and Astalor, and then you want Nubricon.
Nubricon?
A Nubricon, thank you.
For the armor.
Yes.
Yeah.
But the great thing is that a Nubricon is so high in his health that if he's running Capture Cold Deep Mine, then he can just play that and automatically draw his highest health minion.
With the +2 spell damage, this is a really nasty spot here for Critical, because Naval Cow is going to be able to dish out some mean damage with that. And it's going to continue to follow whichever wins.
He can get rid of it if he goes for the hero attack option on the Feral Rage. He's also got the Pounce, too. Now we'll complete the second part of his quest line. Leave him with just 6 attack left to gain to get Guff the Tough. And that's also an alternate win condition for this deck, because sometimes if your Astalor combo doesn't work out, you can play Guff the Tough in addition to the Bran. That gives you 16 armor and 16 attack on your hero, and that can sometimes be enough to win the game. Also, if you're very pressed up against an aggro deck, like an aggro mage, for instance, they're just putting all your spells up against you, and you've got 5 health, and you just need to survive to the next turn. Sometimes the Bran Guff play with the 16 armor is enough to keep you going.
Yeah, which can be huge. I mean, you just want to grab as much armor as possible. Ooh. Let's have a spammy Alchemist now.
Arcanist.
Arcanist, there we go. Spammy Arcanist. Oh, that card feels horrible to have played against you. Oh.
He's got it. Capture Cold Tooth Mine. That allows him to draw his highest card. Does he discover Guff? He's got Guff as well.
Oh, no.
But he's going to go with the Innervate instead. Give his hero 2 attack. That's going to complete this. Oh, because he can also use the Feral Rage too. Feral Rage is going to give him 4 more attack. That'll leave him just 2 off from completing the quest line.
The time run low.
Now he'll use Capture Cold 2. That's going to draw him a Nubricon.
Oh, man. He's almost there. Well, he has one of the Innervates, so he can get there. He's very close.
Yeah, he didn't even need Guff. It's just cheaper for him at this point to just do the play off of Innervate.
Yeah, at this point, it's just waiting 2 more turns.
I was saying either one is your enabler for the combo. You just need 11 mana for it. And then you've got a whole lot of damage coming your way. Remember, the battle cries are doubled, so the 14 becomes 28 per Astalor, with which you get 2, because the double battle cry off of the mid-tier Astalor gives you 2, so that's overall 28 plus 28, 56 damage to your opponents. Which, unless you're in Wild with their version of Druid, which can gain north of 1,000 armor, you're not going to live through that.
Yeah.
You're not getting in this way.
Draw his lowest cost card, and the Rake actually gives him the 2 extra attack he needs to complete this quest line. Not that he necessarily needs it. I mean, it's icing on top of the cake, and he'll take that taunt for sure. He can just play that on curve, get an 8/8 for 5 mana, give himself 8 more attack, 10 to face.
He's set up exactly where he needs to be now. You can tell Table Cow is realizing that right now, that this is a rough spot.
Well, what he's frustrated with is because his 5/5 was taken out, its death rattle its effect goes to the next minion he draws.
And he has
but he
not
hasn't
gotten
drawn
it.
a minion. He's just been drawing spells.
Nope, it's all well and good when he has the spell damage buff, but because he doesn't have that yet, he doesn't want these spells.
Next turn is the turn that Critical wins this, so It's either win it now for Table Cow, or he can't really do anything in the face of this final combo. He'll pull out his secret, but that's not going to do anything. I think Critical's got this, and it'll go to match point.
Yeah, there's not a lot you can do here.
And this just a play for the win.
We have reached.
Didn't go for the combo there, but it's also tricky. He was, with the mage secret, you never know.
You wanted to make sure that
You don't want to objection your brand.
Yeah, that would be unfortunate, but luckily for him, that is not the secret that was played, so...
Table Cow is going to get one more chance to draw a minion.
And set up his own
He needs
combo.
that minion. He's got one. He's got 8 mana to make it work.
Alright.
This would summon a whole bunch of skeletons to his side of the field.
And give a lot of arcane bolts.
This is going to be the play. The armor's going to be whittled down. There's going to be more arcane bolts given over. He just doesn't have the mana to play them all. And even if every of those skeletons were to hit face, again,
enough.
Critical can just play the brand combo now with the Innervate. And that's going to do it.
Yep. On. Now have a ridiculous amount of armor. Pull out the Astrolore. Get some of it back. And here it goes.
The Anubricon combo gives you just enough armor to play 3 versions of Astrolore.
Wow, that's insane.
And that'll do it for Table Cow. He's now in a position where he has to get a reverse sweep if he wants to win this. The only deck left for Critical is the Death Knight. Hardly what I would say is a weak choice.
No, and if I remember correctly, it is an aggro Frost Death Knight, which is always really nasty to go up against, as we've seen throughout the past couple days of this, or I guess the past day of this. It has been very effective if they get the right frost spells to lock down your board, which is going to be very frustrating for Table Cow going forward, because he still has a lot of decks that require the board moving forward. Luckily, I mean, just in general, and if he wants to use Quest Druid again, he's going to get frozen in the middle of one of his attacks, and it's going to be really unfortunate for him. It's just not a great spot. Sorry, not Druid. If he wants to use really any of his decks, it's going to be rough.
Death Knight is one of his options. They could just go for a pure mirror matchup against Critical. Remember, Critical, we joined him kind of midway through the Demon Hunter match, so he's got to win with that. He's got to win with Druid. He just needs one more, and that would be quite a showing for Northeastern and all the Husky fans out there if both of the semifinals were swept 3-0 to get both Northeastern players into the finals.
That would be insane. I think that would be kind of crazy to see, honestly, just this far into the tournament, but that also just goes to show how hard they've all been working going forward, and just in general the amount of crazy plays they've been able to make. But it looks like we're going to have the classic Paladin versus Death Knight going forward.
And I liked this build of Paladin that served Table Cow well. This is pure Paladin, but it's a more long-range version of pure Paladin that has Cariol built into it. More Discovers with the Muckborn Servants. There's Cariol. And if he gets Cariol out, then all of this damage that the Death Knight is going to be pushing out
Need a bit more spice over here.
could be made pretty irrelevant. He's also got the Maki roll, so there's his healing.
He already has a really nice setup here.
Thinking this one over. Horn of Winter is always good for the refreshing 2 mana crystals. Blood Boil is, you know, one of the best stabilizing board clears that you can have in the game. The only problem is I'm not quite sure how that 5 mana fits into his aggro strategy, but he's going to use it anyway because it is such a good card.
Easier to draw.
He's going to go for Liadrin.
Needed more spice over here.
That is going to give Sous Chef the Divine Shield. More damage to face. Liadrin is pretty easily dealt with Frost Strike. Gets another Frost spell, of which he's going to get the Acolyte of Death. That's going to give him more card draw options.
What'll wet your whistle?
And there goes Muckthorn Servant. What's interesting is Bridge is Baldar Bridge is played often in kind of another version of Pure Paladin, which focuses more on Silverhand recruits. And he's got 2 of them in his hand.
Reporting for duty.
He'll go for the 3 mana buff, give him even more lifesteal, and he's got plenty of healing for whatever critical throws at him.
Have the Astrolord needs. Well, not necessarily needs, but always good to have in hand for
The Astrolord is
damage.
the only way. I guess we're having a bit more connection issues, but it's the only way to play around the Cariel because it does 1 damage at a time. It's the only way to deal with the immovable object that Cariel brings out.
You want to negate the damage that I can do? No, we're going to do it the slow way where I deal 1 damage at a time and you can't block it all. Yeah, that is a good way to get around Cariel, which is going to be very big because she has prevented a lot of really nasty damage in the couple matches we watched earlier, where it was kind of, it looked like Table Cow was going to lose, but because Cariel was pulled out, it was a last-minute save, and it was
Asklor played to help curve out turn. Everything's cleared off. But there were plenty of other options for Paladin to reload the board.
I wonder.
Just having all the Silverhand recruits doesn't seem like the most compelling play, just getting 3 1/1s out on the field. He's really just 1 turn away from where he could either coin out the Leviathan, or he might be saving the coin, or his turn 7 so he can get Cariel out.
Yeah, you can tell he's thinking about it right now.
Reporting for duty.
I mean, either or, he's not in a bad position. He still has the mocking roll and he hasn't taken
Reporting
that
for
damage.
duty.
Scary the spot.
Reporting for duty.
He's just going to go all Silverhand recruits and hero power. Go for the dual charge. That'll help clear out this wide board. Parisian is also going to deal 2 to Silverhand. 28, and drawing a Light Ray, that's a free card for him. He's going to play Hold the Bridge on one of his recruits.
Reporting for duty.
Play the Light Ray down so that maybe there's another target for Parisian to hit. Get the healing. And it's going to take out the 3-2, but it's only a 5-5 on the field. Sunwell, you know, if this game is going to go long, then Sunwell is a great extender. He's going to play it right now, however.
Get a ton he can use immediately.
The citadel stands strong.
Card draw.
He does have the 2-mana refresh. And can get one of the enemy minions to attack his minion. Also, the mage spell that he just got copies, I think, a 7, 8, 9. And if it copies a 7-cost spell, then that can copy the Frostborn's Fury, so he could get another one of those. He will overdraw one. Lucky for him, it isn't anything huge. And again, this is still very much doable for him. Because he's got Astalor that can just deal damage one at a time. At least take Table Cow down to half health.
Yeah, both of them have some very viable...
Here comes Leviathan.
Dredge up some stuff. Oh, there's the Countess. This is going to be very helpful for these next turns and getting another Light Ray on the field.
That's where I think Arcane Brilliance can really come in handy, copying that Frostborn's Fury. Because getting another one of those, buying yourself another turn to deal with the legendaries that Countess is going to give Table Cow.
Yeah, that's going to be...
All the minions, give the Frostworm one extra, and at least deal one to face. Not the most, but chip away little by little. Now with 9 mana, he's going to be able to discover one legendary minion.
Alright, here we go.
Ooh, Nelly. More of a compelling option now that she's been buffed again.
Yeah.
Discounts all those pirates by 2. That's going to be the play. If he manages to get a Mr. Smite in the pool here, which he does, yeah, there you go. The cheaper Leroy and then the other pirates for 0 mana, that can just win you the game in 1 turn.
Oh, man.
And the Amalgam as well, so he can get even more pirates.
Whew. That is a really good Nelly play. I do love Nelly. It's a fun Colossal.
I mean, she did need to be nerfed at the very beginning, I get that. Discounting all the pirates to just 1 mana is insane, but also at the same time, it kind of, you know, killed Warrior entirely. So 2 procs of Astalor. That is 28 damage. It's not enough to take out the mage, to take out the paladin. This is where Mr. Smite is going to be so good because he can discover another one. Critical's just lost just on the Mr. Smite charge.
Yeah, that's going to be...
He could also play the Bannerman to get even more damage on the pirates.
Right. Oh, no.
It's 3 extra damage. I mean, I'm sure he can find what he needs. He has 2 Bannermans, actually, and one of them goes onto the pirate. Wow. That is all you need right there. It's that'll gain attack, dude, because he has a weapon. Get to discover another pirate that also gains attack, all in one foul swoop.
Wow.
Table Cow wins it off Nelly, and good old Mr. Smite. I say good old in quotation marks because when he was at his full power level, a lot of people had
by a single
very strong opinions on Smite.
Retribution.
I couldn't fathom why. Couldn't fathom why Mr. Smite might have been scary.
I mean, it's not as if Blizzard, you know, retired Leroy Jenkins for the reason that they were going to move away from, quote-unquote, move away from charge cards in terms of charge design. And then a few years later, just gave Mr. Smite better stats and charge to all the other pirates.
Oh, man. Yeah,
but he will be rotating out too. Another casualty of rotation. The only new charge minion we'll have will be Free Bird.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Oh.
Which is only, it looks like it's, you know, upcoming only going to be a meme card, but I do want to see those Free Bird OTKs in YouTube. I'll be looking forward to seeing those.
That'll be entertaining.
The Table Cow is just hanging on by a thread. Countess can steal you some games, and that was indeed the case. And that's why I really liked Table Cow's choice to go for kind of this different version of Paladin, because you think of a lot of these cards, a lot of these decks that have been done in terms of all the tempo that you can put on the board, how fast they are. We're going to have a
mirror matchup today.
Aggro Frost mirror matchup. Table Cow has discovered both his locations, which is pretty huge.
Rooms for Fury and the Foul Egg. That is a very nice start for Table Cow. Though Northeastern does have some decent cards as well, just not as early startup for him.
Egg is the first play. He'll have Bonebreaker to play next turn. And 2 eggs are going to be brought out onto the field.
Just going to stare each other down a little bit.
Plays Harbinger of Winter. Great draw for critical. That's going to buy him another turn, and even more eggs are on the menu for Table Cow. His board's going to come alive here really soon, because on turn 3 he can, if he wants to, coin out Construct Quarter. And with every charge of those onto the egg, he'll get a 4/5 with Rush and a 3/3 just for the board. And with the option to just, you know, have so many undeads dying all over the place, that will also get the charge going on Vizier. So he'll have mana cheat on that as well.
Yep. All right.
Here's the chance. Yep, there it goes.
Oh, these eggs are going to hatch, and it's going to be very dangerous for critical.
And as the attack with, he'll attack into the Baron. Give Northeastern another card. None of these cards bad. Has a lot of options. Pick will attack into the 4/3, make it a 4/1. Frost Strike, take out, chicken. Give him a chance to discover. Another Bonebreaker is always nice, but Horn of Winter, you just can't burn down that refreshing 2 mana crystals. 2 damage to face off the weapon, and an Arm Stealer just to set more stuff up. Now's the chance to use Vizier. We did see one game where the Scourge was discovered off as Vizier, discounted to 7. He is going to get a 9 mana spell, but it isn't the Scourge, it's the Sunwell. But Grave Strength, I think, fits into his strategy a bit more.
That's just such a strong card. Especially because normally you would not be able to get it in an aggro Frost Death Knight deck, so being able to get Grave Strength into the mix of all of these cards is such a nasty combination.
You'll have a lot of minions with a lot of attack, but there is a timer ticking down on that Grave Strength in the form of that Frostworm's Fury. Because all the minions that you summon will be pretty much for naught if they're all frozen.
So he is going to get enough for Grave Strength after this.
He is, but he would only have at most 2 minions to put it on. I like the play on Astalor here, even though it does bring out that chicken. It means that it's not an efficient play anymore. For that Construct Quarter, you'd have to use it on the Nagaling, but if he were to spend the mana on the Nagaling, then he wouldn't have enough for the Grave Strength.
Granted, he has a little bit more time before Frostworm's Fury becomes a true problem.
Also, discovering Frigidara up the Frost Strike is huge. Draw 2 cards, deal 2 to all enemies. Clear out a few more minions.
Pick me!
The Overseer can be very dangerous. Hope they get enough spells in hand.
But he'll just go with the Frigidara. Probably going to draw himself.
Yep.
Oh, I was going to say draw the other Frostworms. He doesn't draw it, but he can maybe discover it off of this Frost Strike. Discovered Frigidara off the last one. Marrow Manipulator, or, I mean, those are 2 power cards.
Yeah, getting the extra stall in is going to be very nice. Looking at what this board is going to turn into if Table Cow gets the right setup.
Now we've reached the point where I think even if Table Cow somehow manages to activate the Grave Strength and get it onto a bunch of minions for the next few turns, it's going to be pretty much of a moot point. Another ghoul with charge.
Yeah, I think he's going to wait this out a little bit. Probably knows that there's a Frostward Fury waiting for him right now.
Then the whole thing is, you know, do you not play anything because you're waiting out? Because that's sort of a self-fulfilling prophecy. If you're like, I'm not going to play anything because of the Frostwyrm's Fury, well, then you're just giving Critical another win condition. Which I'm not saying Table Cow's doing. One thing that can get around the freeze is Construct Quarter, of course, with the rush. Raid into the Drake.
Actually get some decent minions back on the field there for getting rid of the Frostwyrm.
And he can get his other location on the board to use on the ghoul. So a very threatening board developed. Kind of demands another Frostwyrm's Fury, possibly. Although another Frigidara can clear the board as well. Table Cow.
Here we go.
Oh, that's rough.
Oh no!
3 Frostwyrm's Fury in one game. Absolutely
nasty.
brutal. You know, discover more. The Scourge was in there too. He didn't pick it, but I saw it.
For just a split second, it was there. taunting us. The hope that we get the funny play, but we will not. Overseer. Oh, now he has an Overseer, but
Who here can spell Zilujari? Anybody?
oh, he has so many corpses now.
He'll use Obliterate on Frigidara. That does get rid of a big threat on board, but it also does more damage to him, putting him within range of these Frostwyrm's Fury. Astalor might not even need to be used at this point. And another board freeze.
Yep. And a Plague Strike. Just to get rid of some of the extra. Yep. Rush. Is that to get rid of the Muggling? Yep, this is... Table Cow really doesn't have anything that he can use here to actually... Yeah,
There's too many minions on the board for the Marrow Manipulator to do much good. He'll get the ghoul with charge. He'll give that some attack.
Get something out of the way.
There's the board. It's a good play, but unfortunately, with 3 Frostwyrms, that's it. Well played to Table Cow. He was able to get 1 game in there with the Paladin. Ultimately, though, Critical wins it in the semifinal with 3 Frostwyrms and moves on, joining the other Husky in
are driven
the
by a
grand
single
finals.
purpose.
It's going to be
Retribution.
Northeastern versus Northeastern. So they've guaranteed themselves the championship title. We know that much. The question is, who is going to take it?
Yeah, they have to go. The Huskies have to fight each other, so there's going to be a little bit of a dogfight for the top spot there.
Automated
so to
button
speak.
versus Critical. Who's it going to be? We'll take a short break and then be back with the grand champion of the Nace Starleague Collegiate Challenge right after this.
It's like you're stuck in a nightmare, but you keep doing it for the thrill. Well, this is reality. You only live it once, so wake up from your dream. But just for tonight, let the lines get blurred. Let your thoughts be free. Let your thoughts be free.
I'm stuck inside of these walls with you. I don't recognize who I've turned into. I'm losing hope and getting myself back. Everything around me is starting to turn black. Don't tell me you're hurting again. Tell me how wrong I am. Tell me how it's all my fault. Yeah, I've met my match again, starting from scratch again. Where's the pleasure in all this pain? Don't you lie to me and say it's all okay when it feels like I'm drowning. I hate to say goodbye, but it's time to go. All I need is someone I've never felt more divided than now. Every word that leaves your lips never means how it sounds. You've conquered the best of me, could have just set me free. Games that you play are just second hand. Now I'm beside myself, no one your fucking hell. Let me just go, let me just go. And don't you lie to me and say it's all okay when it feels like I'm drowning. I hate to say goodbye, but it's time to go. All I need is someone else.
Welcome back to the Nace Starleague 2023 Hearthstone Collegiate Challenge. We are now at the pinnacle of the tournament, the Grand Finals matchup, and it's a matchup of two Huskies, both from Northeastern. We've got these players going to be playing each other in the same room, which is always very fun. You know, of course, they'll be facing away from each other, but I always think it's nice to have that sort of communal aspect to Hearthstone. That's kind of the best thing about it. You were telling us just yesterday about how some of your most fun moments for Hearthstone is based off just playing with friends, you know, you two facing each other.
Yeah, I think it's also just whenever you get to be in the same room with someone while you're playing, it's a lot of fun. I mean, when we were doing some practice matches earlier in the season, prepping for some of these tournaments, we were across the room, but I do remember you made a nasty play preventing me from using Shockspitter Hunter, and I just from across the room went, "Jacob, why?" And you were like, "I knew you were going to do that."
Yeah.
And it's just the best part. Those are always fun, and it's great moments, and that's the fun of, I think, competitive esports overall, too, though. Just with any communal game, it creates that extra level of just fun and excitement for it.
And we have two outstanding players for which who are going to play Otto and Critical, both from Northeastern. Northeastern has already, if you could say, been guaranteed a grand finals finish in this tournament. Now the question is just which player. We also had a Northeastern player from yesterday joining us, rocked you in the Twitch chat, also cheering on his teammate. So it's nice to see that the whole team is together, ready to cheer each other on and really celebrate this accomplishment that they have gotten. But now it is time for the final best-of-5 match conquest format, and we already know what both of these players are bringing. I have to also say that for this particular matchup, we have a lot of decks that really kind of forge creative plays, a lot of thinking. You know, with Quest Druid, it's thinking, okay, you know, when do I build up the attack for my hero to try to whittle them down enough on health in order to threaten them. But then we've also got Miracle Rogue on the other side for automated button, which is, you know, that's just talking about convenient plays, although as soon as I say we have the option of Miracle Rogue, we get the word that it is banned along with Critical's Death Knight. So it is going to be both priests allowed into the grand finals.
The priests have been let out for the finals, so that'll be interesting to see. We know that those can get away really fast if their decks get built up, and if you let them get just the minion that allows you to deal extra damage to face, it does not end well. It does not end well if that happens. But it looks like automated button is going to be trying to get that out of the way as fast as possible. Here, we're going to do Paladin versus Priest. It's going to be a very interesting start.
I think for right now, in terms of the mulligan, Sinful Sous Chef is always usually a key to start the Priest off well. The Paladin off well. The question for Priest, rather, is going to be whether he can find one of his key undead with the Death Rattles. He could try to use it on Plague Striker, but it's normally you're wanting to put that Reborn on other, more impactful minions. Maybe he keeps Plague Spreader, as that is played. Looks like he might keep all of them.
I see you brought guests.
Like our Paladin's going to be starting off with a lot of low mana cards and an Anachronos, because why not? But that's going to give him some good prep time if need be when we hit the 7 mana marker.
The Anachronos has served, I believe that's critical on the bottom as well, because when you're going up against a deck with so many strong death rattles that you do not want to proc, then, you know, Anachronos doesn't set them off. It just sends all minions 2 turns into the future. And we've seen Anachronos come in very handy in a couple of past matches for Critical.
Yeah. So this priest doesn't actually have the silence spike. That's interesting. Oh, and has the Shard of Silencing. Ooh, that is going to be a nasty card to have for a deck like this. Being able to silence any taunt minions too. This priest looks a little different than the ones we've seen previously. Get a location out. 6/8 on the Muckborn Servant as a top end? Ooh, that's really nice too.
Also like the Battle Vicar, discovering a holy spell gives you a whole bunch of more options. If you're really looking to stretch the match out that much longer, remember Sunwell is a holy spell. So that'll just basically reload your hand. Worst case scenario. Gonna get the first Plague Spreader on the board.
With every step.
The only really problem here is that with both of his lower cost minions spent, that's pretty much gonna guarantee that the Plague Spreader is gonna hit Anachronos. Also, shout out, I see someone playing Battlegrounds in the background of Critical's camera there. So, best of luck. And props for keeping it on Bob. He's sticking with good old Bartender Bob.
I love Bartender Bob. Oh wow, this, just looking back at the board though, this board just keeps getting scarier.
Yeah, it's just too much of a...
Gonna get rid of Anachronos, so that does help Critical quite a bit, even if he doesn't realize it.
Yeah, but with the Sermon, that's going to be enough of a buff onto these minions.
Yeah, this is a... I think that's enough to finish this off. Yep. Very quick game there, but very good start.
And that's what I like about, you know, being in the same room. It's that he can audibly, you know, take his headphones off and just say wow to the other player. And they can both reflect in sometimes how insane an opening can be for both of these decks.
Yeah, that was a really nice Paladin opening, though. Looking at that, just able to set up such a nice board so quickly and then buff it up despite the silence going through, too. That was a really good area for that. The Priest didn't necessarily have a bad opening either. It's just that the Paladin's board was so well set up immediately. Not a lot of undeads for the Priest to work off of immediately either.
Yeah, and Paladin also has just more natural 1 and 2 cost minions that you can use, and getting your mech that can dredge and buff for you at the very beginning as well is great for having that Paladin tempo. I just think there were more low-cost cards in that particular matchup. And also just the fact that none of the really impactful death rattles were available to the Priest. I mean, yes, the Plague Spreader can disrupt your opponent by transforming a few minions in their hand, but that's a very delayed effect when you consider that Paladin's just going to throw everything on the board.
Yep. The one nice thing is that if it had lasted longer, it did manage to take out Anachronos, which did save him if it had been lasting longer, but unfortunately for him, he didn't quite have what he needed to continue forward. But it looks like he's going to be running it back with the Priest going up against the
Oh my
Mage now.
goodness, that mulligan.
I see you.
Oh,
That is such a gross mulligan, though.
That is, I mean, luckily both these players
I feel
aren't.
for Autobun looking.
I know, but both these players don't really have anything to do right now in these first couple of turns, so it's going to be a very awkward staring contest.
Maybe that's
for
not
the
a bad
time being.
thing, though. You know, although they don't know what the other person's hand is right now, we can at least take solace that it's for them that they are not going to be immediately blasted by the other person who has a good hand.
It is going to be a long match, that's for sure. One Plague Spreader is already going to be brought out. Depending on what that hits too, if that hits Mordesh.
That would be very unfortunate. Honestly, there's a lot of cards in his hand that it would really suck for the Plague Spreader to hit, but...
No way he's gonna say that.
Oh, yep, there he gets through. That's the 9 armor bot.
Takes the value trade, uses the Nether Drake to clear off his own Plague Spreader that doesn't hit Mordesh. One School Teacher and 1 mana left to play.
Anybody?
Ruined Orb isn't bad. Getting another Discover going through is always nice.
Yep, gonna get
Pick me!
2 damage to face, and we'll see what else he can get.
Let's see. Ah, yes, the tower. Just reminding us.
Explosive runes can deal a bit of damage to face, considering there isn't much in this priest's wheelhouse that is going to survive through that. The only thing being his 6-drop. He's going to give Reborn to his Spirit Guide for another hand refill.
Also not bad to put on your taunt minion to give it a little bit extra survivability to stall out.
That'll start the charge on his Mordesh. He'll get 3 damage on that. Also, speaking of Mordesh, it really seems like a shame that he is rotating out, that the one moment the Music Festival expansion is coming out.
I was thinking about that. It is really unfortunate. It's like the perfect time for him to be around. But, you know, it is actually unfortunate. Like, really unfortunate, too, because his legendary effect is just, everything fits so well into the festival.
Now, the thing is, in one of the flavor texts for a new card reveals in Festival of Legends, Blizzard has hinted that they might be bringing Guff back into Core.
Oh, yes, that's right.
So, if they're bringing Guff back into Core, and they're willing to touch cards from Year of the Griffin and put those into Core, then I think they might keep Mordesh in.
I feel like it would be really sad to bring Guff back and not bring back Mordresh, the best card to fit this new theme right now.
He'll trade back his Amulet, get another Death Rattle, Resurrect on the table. Basilev also for a board refill. And do you see what I see in Critical's hand?
Nope.
We're gonna get a showcase of ETC after all. We were hoping we would see him.
Oh my goodness.
Just at least one representation from Festival of Legends in this tournament. I'm thrilled that we possibly get to see it.
You know what? I'm happy that it happens in the final match at least. I feel like that's fitting.
Critical has had it in his Priest deck the whole time. We just haven't seen it because Priest has either been banned or the match has just been closed out beforehand.
Yeah, so hopefully we get to see the effect in action. That would be really cool. Looking at this, he does have a really nice foundation of protection right now from this mage.
It's either Rune or Mordesh.
Yep.
He's going to
Alright,
play
here we
Rune.
go.
Who you're dealing with?
Both of them take a deep breath and get prepared. Blizzard to start things off. Another explosive. We'll discover another spell off of Ruined Orb. There'll be another explosive runes. Seafloor, counterspell, and despite freezing and making himself a little bit of a Christmas tree, I'd say Critical got off pretty scot-free, all things considered.
Yeah, those secrets will definitely be nasty, but could have been worse when it comes to this board right now.
Undead, not dead.
Yep.
That just eats the explosive runes entirely.
Just gonna
Healing
heal
will
it
go
up.
onto that.
And the counterspell gets rid of that.
Auto button with the taunting. I like it.
Oh, and there's another Rune of the Archmage if we're feeling risky soon here. But gonna put the Drakefire Amulet down first. Nixia.
All things considered, not the two best dragons you could get. Especially having to settle for the 3/6.
But Nixia is gonna get taken out. Barrier.
With more healing from Mita, it's going to take probably another Miracle Archmage rune in order for Auto Button to bring this back.
Yeah, I feel like that's probably the best play for him right now. It's just to hope that the luck is on his side.
Can't use his hero power in conjunction with the rune.
Could use more Mordresh to clear this board, but...
Problem is, with both those Death Rattle minions, that would put Mordesh at too big of a risk of being killed himself.
Let me remind you who you're dealing with.
Tries to even up the odds a little bit.
Summons a minion for himself. Unfortunately, that's going to be taken out. Mass Polymorph.
That's what he needed.
It is sheep time. Everything cleared.
He does have some cards destroyed, though, in the process. Not the best cards to have destroyed, but... overall, the Mass Polymorph is probably the best thing that could have happened.
Here we go,
there.
ETC. What did he pick?
Oh, that was so
He
fast.
knew, yeah, he knew. Sistil Savannah. So he is playing the long game here. That's going to give him infinite shadow spells. And a good burn. Critical appreciates that overdraw.
Yep, honorable kill the band manager.
Bring out Mordish just for the body and damage. Well, it looks like he was considering Mordesh, but is actually going to go a little bit of a longer route.
Cards more expensive for Critical to use.
Discover a Shadow Spell. I would think maybe Animate Dead just because it's the cheapest. He's gonna go for the card draw instead. Which, considering, I mean, he's got a pretty hefty card deck. When you consider that he was already playing with Prince Renethal, and he has enough to keep drawing.
Yeah, he's got plenty to work through right now. Oh, there's Bran.
Doesn't have a coin though, so with the coin, that Bran would have helped him deal 20 damage. That'll just settle for the 10 damage off standard Mordesh, even an 8/5 on the field. That's a nice resummon off of Basilisk.
Yeah, that's gonna be really fun. And another taunt. Man, every time Autobutton thinks he's made it through, more taunts appear. This is quite the uphill battle for him right now.
The one saving grace for him is he's getting a lot of honorable kills on his hero power.
Which is going to be really helpful later on here.
It's now up to 7 damage. He's going to might have the chance to discount it for next turn. Due to that elemental he's got. Master thrown down, give him a bit more survivability, and one of those explosives.
Just in case another enemy gets dropped down. Alright, grave digging.
Oh no. Oh, Critical's running Theatar. Theatar might not even come into the equation.
Finley.
Because he is going to Finley. I would think he has maybe some damage to face that he could do. Finley's going to eat the explosive runes.
Goodbye, Finley. You served your purpose. Alright, let's see what he gets.
Ah,
the behemoth. Oh no.
That's the healing he's looking for.
That's rough. That's very rough. Oh, the barbaric sorceress.
Both of the runes of the archmages have been spent. And he doesn't have a parrot that he can use to repeat it.
Bad to make it get the Drakefire enemy. Killed a Snoger. I love the progression of those cards. They're very
Ooh, that's right.
He now has a coin for the Astalor Brawn play.
Silence all enemy minions, get rid of the taunt. GG's thrown out, and we are tied now in this match.
Yeah, got his setup done just a little too late, unfortunately. I appreciate that voice line. I'm undead, not dead. Very specific. We know where she stands on our undead, truly dead stance.
It's nice that the developers have the forethought to answer that question for us.
We know. It's very important. I do just love the portrait voice lines in general. It's a fun little thing to make the game just a bit more engaging overall when you're playing, and so it's always fun to see when you get a new card what they're going to sound like.
That's exactly what I was going to say with Festival of Legends coming out. We've got so many fun legendaries and really punny names being brought out with the minions that I just can't wait to see what they do. I have to wonder, specifically for cards like Audiomedic, which is designed to very heavily resemble Lucio. It would be a very nice shout out, if they get his voice actor.
That would be really fun.
I mean, he works for Blizzard, so I mean, it shouldn't be too much of an
know.
issue for them to say, hey, can you voice a few lines for Hearthstone?
That would be really cool. I think that would be fun. I think also it would be interesting. I'm curious to see what the Crowd Surfer, the Murloc Crowd Surfer card is going to be. He's a fun card, and also all the fans. The fans will be interesting.
The annoying fan, the rowdy fan.
The obsessive fan.
That's a good one, the obsessive fan.
I love its description. I hope its voice line lives up to the description. But getting into this, it looks like Demon Hunter and Priest. Ooh. The Void Touch Attendant.
I was talking a little earlier today, we kind of see different flavors of Death Rattle Priest, and this one, that auto button's running, is a lot more damage focused with the Shadowed Spirit. That's just going to do a whole lot of damage to the enemy hero. And the Demon Hunter, if he isn't able to stabilize by turn 6, get some healing in there, then Critical is very vulnerable at this point.
Yeah, looking at all the cards right now. He does have some decent. Just charge up start right now. Gets that out. Oh, Whispers from the Deep.
It's actually going to be turn 5 that the Unleash Spell combo is available for him. So it can possibly get him some much-needed healing. Okay, it's going to have to wait until turn 6 because he spent the coin now on School Teacher. He doesn't want to leave that 4-3 uncontested. Another Unleash Spell is pretty interesting.
That wouldn't be a bad card to have just as backup. More healing for Demon Hunter, the better off you are normally.
And here's where the combo starts. Basilisk to bring back that Shadowed Spirit. Put even more damage to face. Could either be Basilisk or Bonecaller. Both of them have the same effect. They're going to resummon the 4-3. Make Critical's life very difficult.
Trying to figure out what he wants to do there.
He'll throw out the Thalnos, take the 3 damage again. It hurts taking that 3 damage, but it's worth it considering you don't want to leave a 4-3 out on the field to just keep attacking your face over and over.
Yeah, it hurts a lot more than it helps when you do that. So you're gonna bring, oh dear.
And Critical, if he was frustrated beforehand.
Surprise. He'll be back in a little bit after this Death Rattle minion is gone.
Down
That
to
is a lot of
13
damage.
health. Next turn, though, is when it happens. He'll have 2 Unleash spells available to him. That's going to practically Reno him. And if you get, basically all those death rattles out of the way, you've healed yourself back up to full strength, and all of a sudden things swap a lot more over to the Demon Hunter. He can take control in Astheno and get the Astheno effect to now go off on his spells. He'll silence
There we
that
go.
minion.
Yep. So now that minion will stay on his side. I really like that combo. It's very clever.
Most importantly for Critical, a lot of these minions are at 4 health, so they hang in there, and that's more healing for the Unleash spell.
And there we go again, one more time, which is a huge boost to him. I mean, all the way back up, except for that -3 from the Death Rattle. That's a huge boost that he needed there.
Both these players a bit low on cards, however. Luckily for Auto Button, he does have the Cathedral available, so the multiple procs on that will get him card draw. And a rather threatening minion on top of that. See what he draws and discounts off of Sigil. He'll get the Relic Vault, that's huge. Immediately use that. Get 2 charges on the Relic of Phantasms. Summons a wide board for himself.
It's a nice board spread there. Ooh, that's a Mind Seer. And, yep, Shadow Word.
Mindseer and Hero Power. It is a board clear, but you have to remember that that doesn't mean that use of the Relic was all for naught. It places 2 more charges on his relics as a whole.
Well, and it does bring Auto Button down to 1 card right now, and unfortunately it's not at its most helpful. He's already able to build up the board a little bit again there.
Deal with the Devil is going to summon more lifesteal minions. This priest is fighting back pretty fiercely in terms of that, in terms of the damage he has on field.
Oh.
Another Void Touched Attendant could mean that this priest still finds a way to run Critical down.
He's looking at his options right now. Go.
2 damage to face. Auto Button in a great position. He's going to be forced to Finley. Three cards to the bottom. We'll take the 3 cards from the bottom back onto the top. The Extinction is part of that, and the Relic of Dimensions as well. He'll use that in combination with the Relic Vault to draw 4 cards, practically make him free.
Nice. Ooh, another Unleash Fell.
And another Relic of Dimensions
Oh,
at
boy.
just 1. Now, actually discounting Jace is huge. He can be used in combination with the spell damage minions now.
It's true, yeah,
there's-
that's just a lot. That's a really nice draw there for him. There we go. The board is now not a threat.
That one play by Critical, by drawing Finley, well, not drawing Finley, but playing Finley at just the right time, drew all the relics he was looking for, is now going to give him his win condition, his finishing turn with Jace. Draw even more cards. And here's the finisher.
There we go. Wow. What a nice turn of events there for Critical.
And auto button was so close
Yeah.
to getting that one. I think Critical was down to just 6 health. And that's what I was saying at the very beginning. It's a question of, does he make it to turn 6? Does the Priest run him down before he can make it to turn 6 and the Unleash Fell combos can go off? If they go off, he's fully healed and can find his win condition after that. And even then, it was still just barely.
Yeah, that's one of those things that I was talking about with Demon Hunter earlier, is it's such a good deck, but because of the type of deck that we're seeing a lot right now in the competitive, which has just the biggest problem being not having a ton of healing unless you can get to that turn 6, can be so dangerous against a Priest because they're all about burst damage. So because the Priest didn't have the right cards set up in that order, it gave him a really nice standing for that heal. Now we've got Quest Druid versus Undead Priest.
Just one Quest Druid left. And Critical will have the championship to himself. But he has to deal with this Shadow Priest yet again. And a Shadow Priest that's got a good opening at that. Undying Allies and Shadowed Spirit. He's going to be putting a lot of damage to face very soon. 2 Shadowed Spirits at that.
That's already a really good setup for him.
Play Astalor on curve. He also draws High Priest Basilev too, so he's got the resummon for these Shadowed Spirits.
Oh, that's gonna end up... All he's missing is just the extra face damage.
Draws an
Wow.
Innervate. Throws the Cathedral down. For just another Shadowed Spirit, because if this is board cleared, then both of them will come back via Basilev. A Mind Seer on top of that, and there is so much burn damage from this
that's
Priest.
nasty already.
At this point, he's given himself an Innervate to maybe try to make the combo go off one turn earlier, or maybe draw Guff to get that healing. The armor, at least, is going to find Rake. Used in combination with the Pounce. That can clear. And it'll get the playoff spammy Arcanist, though.
Yep, there we go.
But the problem is, Basilev is just waiting there. In any other situation, that's a great play, but
Yeah,
I think Basilev is
unfortunately.
going to hit the board, and that's it.
I think that's gonna... Yeah, I think that might just finish it off here. You can see Critical realizing...
That is the most evil laugh I have ever seen from Auto Button.
Yeah, you get rid of those, and you're 3 away at this point. And if you don't, you're just gone because of that. But looks like he's going to try and grab as much armor as he can to try and withstand this blow. I don't blame him on that play. That is entirely fair, looking at what he's got to deal with next. But he is able to reduce some of the threat of this board.
Turn with the buff from Cathedral Avatona. He's going to hand it over.
Yep. There's just nothing he can do here.
And that is the one thing to keep in mind, the critical, not to let it get to his head too much, is just Auto Button, you know, kind of had his Exodia opening. He had all the cards that he needed to really make it happen.
If he, just having Basilisk and being able to, off of the Reborn, get a third Death Rattle minion was exactly what he needed there to win the game so early. And just another great example of why this Undead Priest deck can be so dangerous once it's given the proper setup. I mean, it's so hard to really get past turn 4 when it's like that. Like, it's insane. It's incredible how crazy that setup works.
So now we know the final matchup because we have the full lineups for both of these teams. It has to be this Quest Druid that Critical finds in order to get past the big Spell Mage brought out by Auto Button. And this is where I'm a bit concerned for Auto Button on this big Spell Mage, because it gives so much time over to the Druid to build up its OTK.
Yeah, this is going to be very much a race for the Quest Druid as much as they possibly can, and that far watch post is not going to make it any better.
He's going to pounce it. He gets a 1 mana placed onto Bran. So theoretically, that makes the combo that Critical wants to pull off cost 12 mana instead of 11. 1 lingering zombie thrown out, and still has control of the board. He's gonna point out Okani.
Let's see.
Chooses minions, so that means that means that this Seedsman is not going to be able to play on curve. That would have been the standard play, but he has to play around that, though. The good news for Critical is that the very important card, which is Guff, is now going to be played on curve on turn 5.
This will be very good for him.
Auto Button is gradually taking control of the board.
Alright, here goes Guff.
Also get a bit of rush. And the first start of his armor gain. 10 armor. Remember that combo at the very end that Quest Druid can pull off can deal over 50, so he's not out of range yet, but if he has enough high health minions on the board, it is possible he could get through it all.
Oh, there's a Nubricon. Well, we know where he is right now.
I think he might pass up on a Nubricon for now, however. Maybe
Panther.
to get Park Panther, or
nope, he is going to take it. Okay.
Well, he is only 1 card away from the combo. Actually, no, he does have the combo there. He does have a Nubricon.
Oh, there's Belinda. And on turn 6.
Oh,
she popped up at the correct time. That's a 10-9 on the board now. Oh, with Rune and Drakefire now being discounted to 5, that's going to be rough for Critical.
But the combo is going to go off in conjunction with Rake. More armor given over to Critical. So it's a question of, does he get the dragons he need to divert enough damage away from the Astalor combo? He'll gain a mana crystal. Gain 8 more armor. That will be negated. Needed to get that out of the way.
But now that it's gone, he's free to play whatever cards he wants to right now.
Now the 412 is more what he was looking for in terms of health. Now this still isn't enough mana to pull off the combo because Bran has been bumped up to 4 mana.
Yeah, we need a little bit longer now.
Just one more turn. Question of if this druid can survive that turn.
Alright, let's see. Oh, he's going to...
He immediately picks it. Discover a copy of a card. He's looking for something in particular, something, anything.
The Pathmaker is going to give him more armor. Find it. He's going very quick right now.
He's looking for that armor because he realizes he has to survive till next turn.
That's a lot of armor from both of those.
Gonna go up to 23 health.
Barbaric Sorceress.
Nah, I think it's still enough damage on field. One turn away.
Oh,
Just
man.
one turn away. That far watch post hitting Bran was the difference.
Yep. Oh, we're gonna go for a Rune of the Archmage. See what happens.
Might as well end the tournament with a bit of a flash. Well, here's the thing.
Yeah.
Is
I don't think he has enough. He doesn't have enough damage now.
I think he does though off of the skeletons.
That's true. He does
So
have to
if he pulls off this combo and the skeletons go off and hit him first, but he's going to be summoning enough minions off of a Nubricon.
to see, it might be able to soften the blow. Yeah, that's what we'll have to find out here.
Here it goes. It's all going to be decided right here, right now, this one turn.
I mean, at this point, all he can do is try, so we'll have to see if he can pull this off.
I mean, the armor gain enough is going to ensure him. Uh-oh. Here we go.
Will he be able to face the brunt of this?
Do those skeletons hit face? One of them does. That takes it away. Wow, what a finisher to decide it. There were so many targets it could have hit, but one of them hits face, and that's all that auto button needed.
Wow.
Now, he doesn't necessarily have lethal himself here.
But it's very close. Is he going to repeat Rune of the Archmage? Yes, he is. He's looking for just one chance right now. Just needs a little bit of damage to hit face.
Draw a card 2. Move one minion, another counter spell. And I think even if he can't get lethal this turn, it's going to be next turn, definitely.
Now looking at all of his options. Let's see, is he going to Reckless Apprentice? Alright, just get rid of some of the enemies on board. Gonna get rid of Astalor.
Counter spell, gets rid
Counterspell.
of the innervate.
At this point, the most he can really do is that would remove Brawn, though.
You're not getting in this way.
You can get Guff off of this. And Bran is still left up.
There is still potential.
And
here. Oh no!
no,
Explosive
it played into
runes!
the explosive runes. I thought the Guff would be able to. He'd be able to win it off of Guff triggering twice.
But unfortunately, The explosive runes were procced.
That was
Wow.
probably one of the best grand finals we could have asked for. For it to go to a Game 5, and then that Game 5 have so many twists and turns for it.
So many just barely moments there, and just the randomness of the skeletons too really was kind of that defining moment of this is all it. Otherwise, I'm going to be like, I'm not going to be able to win. But what's crazy is that he really did think he wasn't going to win at the end there. Like he still had a couple more chances that unfortunately Rune of the Archmage denied.
But Northeastern as a whole, with both of their players making it to the finals, it means both of them will be taking home a hefty payday. $1 grand going over to Otto and $500 going over to Critical. So congratulations to them on both of their victories. And I think that last round was just kind of pure butterfly effect in demonstration, because you have that watchtower that hit Bran. If Bran had been able to go off one turn, if one of those skeletons hadn't hit faces, if the explosive runes hadn't been there, there were so many opportunities for Critical to bring it home.
There were quite a few moments there. I mean, we can see it just looking at it right there. That defining moment of the explosive rune was just kind of the last nail in the coffin. Though I'm impressed how long it lasted. That was insane.
Well, we have our Hearthstone 2023 Spring Champion crowned. It is going to be Automated Button. Congratulations to him for that victory, and thank you to him, Critical, and all the fans watching for making this such an exciting last round of the tournament. I couldn't have asked for more. But that's going to do it for this tournament, and also the last competitive event for us before the Year of the Hydra comes to an end. So just kind of in the spirit of the year rotating over, do you have any final thoughts over the last year of Hearthstone? What you've seen in this expansion, what you've liked, what you've disliked, any thoughts you have?
I think it's going to be really interesting going forward. We've talked a lot about how this last year there was a lot of mana cheat involved, and a lot of that's going away, as well as just some really powerful and defining cards for some of our bigger classes. I think that if there's anything that I'm hoping for, it's in this new expansion that, first of all, we've already seen the names and the descriptions have been just wonderfully funny and entertaining, so I'm hoping that the cards and the effects for the actual classes are going to be interesting and fun, and I really hope that Warrior gets some good cards so that way we can see some fun Rock Warrior builds. I think that would be a lot of fun to see going forward. I think that the combo cards that they have are going to be interesting, and I'm excited to just see how their new effects of like cards being on the field giving effects go forward with the fans. I think that's going to be interesting, and I'm hoping to see more of that.
I think that Year of the Griffin had such an outsized effect on Hearthstone. You had just the Stormwind meta, which a lot of people said that was the worst the meta had ever been. You had so many spells and quest lines that everyone was killing each other on turn 5, and it just seemed like the game was just in a really bad state. And Alterac Valley, I mean, didn't really do a whole lot. A lot of people had very negative opinions as the Year of the Griffin ended. And so as Year of the Hydra started, Hearthstone more than ever needed very flavorful expansions and fun gameplay mechanics again that a lot of people really liked. And we got Voyage to the Sunken City with the Colossals. Then we got Murder at Castle Nathria. I mean, those two expansions, just first off, were some of the most flavorful we've got. Now we're getting Festival of Legends, the introduction of a new class as well, Lich King being for the Death Knights. It was probably one of the biggest turnaround years I've ever seen. There was so much in Year of the Hydra that I loved, and I cannot wait for Festival of Legends and all that brings to the metagame. We're still wondering what some of the classes are even going to bring. We haven't seen any of the Warrior cards for Festival of Legends, and that's everyone's big question right now. Does Warrior get some good cards that can bring them back? And I sure hope so, because that class has needed help for a very, very long time.
Yeah, no, I think it'll be really fun. I'm very excited, and I think it's a very promising just continuation of Hearthstone with this new expansion.
Alrighty, I think that is it for this tournament. Everything that we have wanted to recap and talk about has played out. We want to thank Nace Starleague, all of the people watching, of course, Boise State Esports Production, for bringing you all of these matches, and thank you again to all the players for giving us such a great show. But this is going to be Jacob Palmer and Audrey Norris signing off for the Nace Spring Hearthstone Collegiate Championship. We'll see you all in the next Hearthstone year. See ya, and have a good one. One of them does, that takes it away. Wow, what a finisher. Decided. There were so many targets it could have hit, but one of them hits face, and that's all that auto button needed.
Wow.
Now, he doesn't necessarily have lethal himself here.
But it's very close. Gonna keep rid of the Arcade. Yes, he is.
And Bran is still left up.
There is still potential.
And
there. Oh, no, it's supposed to
it's